Welcome back again to Recap Kickback. Bel-Air season 3 episodes 7 and 8 are over. They're on your streaming service. They're on Peacock, ready for you to watch them. And we are here to talk about them here on Recap Kickback. It's me, your host Chappell, and with me, per usual, my tag team partner here in these Bel-Air streets. It's Pooya. Pooya, what's up?
I am excited. It's always a blessing to get to talk to you, man. And we get to talk about Bel-Air, which has been very good. I will say 8 episodes in, I've been gripped the whole way through.
Yeah, I like this season. I don't know. I think I need to go rewatch season 2, but I'm thinking I feel this like a little bit more than season 2. Because right now I think we've hit the peak of the drama. Obviously, this is a 10 episode season, I believe, and so we're only one podcast away from the finale. This is 7 and 8, and I think we've hit the peak of the conflict. I think that we have seen what's going to happen or what is bound to happen to Amira. We've also seen, some of the drama with Uncle Phil and his business portions. And we've seen several other storylines kind of emerge as well as we enter the second half of this season. So as far as I'm concerned, Pooya, this has been pretty good.
It's been very good, and I feel like they've driven the story well. I feel like they've put a bow on a couple of pieces that I just feel like are kind of done now, and so it allows us to look forward at other stuff. And we did see a couple of storylines kind of have a bow put on them in these 2 episodes, and I'm very excited to talk to you about them.
Yeah, I mean, let's jump right in. If you've been listening to us on Bel-Air Post Show Recap, make sure you come and subscribe here at recapkickback.com/subscribe, or come follow us on the YouTube page. You can get us on all social media platforms as well, but you can also listen to us on all podcatchers. And so we're everywhere. And so if you are enjoying the season and potentially want to come back for a season 4, if there is a season 4, make sure you subscribe so you get all those updates. But yes, we have a lot to talk about and some storylines that have definitely wrapped up. Let's start with Uncle Phil and Aunt Viv, because there's no longer trouble in paradise anymore, Pooya.
No, paradise opens doors to other couples sometimes. And that's kind of the way we went here. Wild that for 6 episodes, we're building up this marriage on the brink of extinction, and one little vacation and everything's back to okay.
Yeah. They had to, really appreciate and embrace one of the themes that I like to bring into my life and that I live by, FTK, fuck them kids. And so once they really separated themselves, went and got on vacation and let go of some of the stressors that were at home and just allowed themselves to be a happy couple, we saw them exploring in ways that I didn't foresee for Uncle Phil and Aunt Viv. It looked like we were about to do a little swinging, Pooya.
We were very close. This summer has been all about swinging around our parts here. I feel like just all those shows we're watching. But this was funny to me. So they go on this little vacation. They invite along LaMarcus's family, parents, because, they've been through a lot with their son having the injury. So they're all together. Then they bump into some friends. And I feel like these are the friends that you kind of left behind, and they're from your wilder years, but they're here now. And they're like, yeah, no, we do a lot of things. It's all about the Viagra for me. I got the Viagra ready. This was wild. And I assume based on your lower Chiron that yours has to do with this specific resort.
Oh, yeah. So yes, we see Uncle Phil and LaMarcus's family, and then we also meet a third couple. This couple is Uncle Phil's frat brother and his wife, and this frat brother, he is the more adventurous one. They're the adventurous ones.
Yes.
Him and his wife are like, no, we keep it spicy. Sometimes my wife will pay for me to do certain things. I believe in this episode, he admits that his wife paid for him to get a massage and a happy ending at the end of that. I said, oh, okay, that's the life we're living. Massage and happy ending. Interesting. But this does start to open the conversation as to what other things they can do to spice up their love lives. So we will see the conversation about Viagra, honey packs, having 25-year-old playthings as well. It got kind of graphic here for the Banks family in a way that I don't think we ever saw in the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
No, the Fresh Prince never got this far. The Fresh Prince, it was like you hear the audience go, woo, and you knew something was about to go down. That was kind of the, hey, heads up, we're about to kind of hint that there's some sexing going on. Here, it's like, Yeah, my man, he lets me spank him when he's naughty. And I feel like that's kind of been helpful in our relationship. That's something we're into. Also, we're just all gonna sunbathe topless now. Viv, you in?
Yeah.
Viv's like, okay, fine. I was like, hey, Viv, what are you doing?
Yeah,
No.
she let the girls out. I was surprised. A resort with a nude side. It just really didn't feel like something from Uncle Phil and Aunt Viv, but also they're trying to spice things up. They're trying to save this relationship, and they know intimacy is where they lack. And so they have the perfect group of people around them. At some point, it even looks like we're going to get a full couple swap between them and their frat brother and his wife.
It got very close. This was kind of where they hinted, right? They're like, why don't you go keep Phil company? And then I'll go keep your man. And then they kind of like swapped and they're in the pool, in the jacuzzi, chilling. And then the next scene, they're like, can't believe we nearly let a couple seduce us. I have only eyes for only one man. And I was like, don't say Sharif. Don't say Sharif. And then she didn't say Sharif.
Yeah. If they nearly let a couple seduce them this time, if Sharif was in the couple, do you think that it would have gone from nearly headless?
It's part of the experience. We might as well try, see what it's about.
Yeah, at that point, it feels more open to it. Maybe bringing Erica and Sharif as the other pair. I think at that point, Viv might slap Erica. I really do. I think that's personal.
I mean, that would have been a fun fight to watch, though.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, if you're watching on the YouTube, my headline here says enough alpha nonsense, because once again, the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, this reboot, has decided to remind us that Uncle Phil is a member of Alpha Phi Alpha fraternity, and they do like their little dances that they be doing. I don't know. I don't respect none of it. They seem like a nice group of people, but it's not really my bag. Shut that down. So I don't need no more of that on my TV screen.
That's someone who is very, very, very non-knowledgeable when it comes to the fraternities and all that. They looked like they were having fun. They looked like they were reliving their youth.
Yeah, that's what they like to do. They
asked the DJ for one song, and they found two other brothers from the fraternity that were there as well that pulled up to dance with them.
All I'm saying is that maybe these people in this organization can't keep their marriages together.
Okay.
I'm just saying. I just was trying to pick up on the cues here, and not the bros, but picking up on what exactly they were trying to lead us to believing by showing all these alphas on the screen at one point. But you know what? Shout out to Alpha Phi Alpha, and like I said, the little dances they be doing. They do good work in the community as well. Just not my kind of carrying on. Yes.
Which fraternity do you think Sharif belongs to?
He ain't in no organization. Matter of fact, just the way he was moving, how dirty he was moving this season, he an Alpha too. Matter of fact, he probably
great.
Yeah,
great.
All these dirty macking dudes, that's probably exactly where they live. My organization would never. That said, yeah, they don't actually swing, but they get dangerously close. But it's enough to get the spark going back in this relationship. And after that moment, we don't see any more friction, for lack of a better term, between Uncle Phil and Aunt Viv.
That must have been some good sex.
Yeah, it shut everything else down.
Well, she was like, no, we don't need to swing, but like, let's do it on the balcony. What if someone sees us? Good, let them.
See, and look, live your life, right? FTK, live your life. Go out here, do your thing. We grown. You married. That's between y'all. The problem here is that you got kids, and this is where I be drawing the line. I was like, okay, sometimes these folks with kids, you can't be publicly swinging and stuff like that, because that stuff trickles down into their personal lives, especially influential family like the Bankses. What if somebody saw them and recorded them or something like that from a distance? This would be big bad news for the Banks family, Uncle Phil, but all the way down to Ashley. Everybody would be in turmoil because of this.
I mean, it's all about how you brand it and market it, right? Where if news gets out, it's like, yeah, this is a couple that's very confident in their relationship, and they are strong and they are good. This isn't something, I don't think this is quite in kink shame territory. This isn't like, wow, big Philip Banks likes to be peed on. Like, this isn't that. Like, it's not that territory. Don't know that. I don't know that, but what I do know is if that you were at this resort and they were on the balcony, you'd be on the other balcony like this, trying to get a closer look.
if they come outside to show you got to look, or they're looking for a spectator, like some spectators, an audience, or something like that. Who are me to just deny them of the whole experience? You know
You
what I'm
give them what
saying?
they want.
Why are you out here if you didn't want to get watched? I don't understand. So, so you're right though. The marketing of this thing will be very important because it really depends on how you flip it. And some positive, I guess, marketing would be great for Uncle Phil right now because he's getting a lot of negativity as we both foresaw coming because the community is pushing back against Omar Campbell. And I like how Uncle Phil ultimately ends up severing ties with Omar. But did you think it would get this out of control where we would see Jazz, Will, and the rest of the community literally committing vandalism to stop this gentrification from happening?
Well, that's the thing. I felt like when they were planning to do the vandalizing, I pretty much assumed they were going to go there, cause a little mayhem, maybe like graffiti a couple of messages of like, you're ruining the community or something. And then one of them was like, you know what'd be great here? You know what's missing? Fire. Let's light it up. That I didn't expect to happen at all. But everything else, I was like, this makes sense if you feel like you're not heard to make a statement, even though it is a criminal statement. Which is why Jazz was like, hey, Will, stay home. Go to bed.
Yeah.
Go to bed. You're a kid still. Yeah. You don't need a part of this.
Jazz tried to step in and save Will, but we know Will is going to get dragged into this kind of stuff all the time. This is just kind of his MO. But I like that the show is taking this turn because I really thought it was going to come down to like the Banks household versus Uncle Phil. You know, Jazz, Ashley, Will, Hillary all saying, Daddy, what are you doing? Why are you pro gentrification? Oh my God. But instead, Uncle Phil moves away from, working with Omar once he realizes that a lot of the promises that Omar and Uncle Phil were making to the community were not going to be kept by the investors. He taps out. And so now I'm thinking this is going to be Omar and his legal team versus Will and Jazz and the community now, with Uncle Phil having to stand with them to shut this down. And I like this a little bit better.
I think so too. I feel like Phil waited entirely too long to back out. It basically became, oh, they're not keeping some of these deals we wanted in, huh? Okay, well, I'm out then. I'm not going to deal with this. I like that Omar was like, I told you weren't ready for this. Like, Omar, you foresaw an arson happening to your project? You really thought this is where it was going? You were not ready for what you were expecting. So I think this is the better storyline, though, because what I would have not wanted is a big distraction in Uncle Phil versus the Banks family for the rest of the season.
Yeah, I mean, we only got 2 more episodes, and so I think we know where this is going. Jazz was caught on camera and now has been identified as one of the vandals, and so because of that, we know that the police are going to get involved. And Uncle Phil has worked very closely with the police. Hell, Lisa's dad is the DA, and so we know things are going to get tense in these next couple episodes, but at the very least, Uncle Phil is on the same side as Will, Carlton, and the rest of the family right now. Now, when it's time to do the right thing and shut down this idea, because like you said, this is still criminal activity. How much is Uncle Phil going to be able to pull off by stopping the gentrification, but also like maybe saving Jazz and the rest of the people from actual getting consequences for all of this?
Well, that's the thing is like, is he going to flip the script now and represent Jazz and try and get Jazz out of any kind of record that he might get from this activity? Or are they going to press Jazz to be like, who started the fire? And is Jazz going to snitch? Because he might not want to snitch. So that's kind of where I think this could head. Because I do feel like the Jazz and Uncle Phil interaction we got a couple episodes ago felt like it was unfinished. Like they're going to have more of a collaboration at some point. And this makes the most sense for me.
Yeah, me too. The other person who really is leaning into, I guess, the marketing of her life is Hillary. We don't get a lot from Hillary, but we do know that Hillary has been focusing on LaMarcus. She is becoming LaMarcus's caretaker and really helping him with the things that he lacks now that he, is still recovering from his accident. He's still considering football, which we haven't talked about at all. That the last time we really got into a LaMarcus conversation, we were trying to figure out, is he going to actually go back and play football? His family wants him to play football, but he could just drop dead like he did the first time we saw that happen. And they haven't touched on that much. They're really now focusing on Hillary and what it looks like when she's trying to be an influencer in her own right for her own career, but it now seems like it's being put on the back burner for LaMarcus. So this episode really led us to talking about do people even respect Hillary as a content creator anymore? Like, does she matter, or is she just getting sucked up into all of the wedding, excitement?
Well, she's getting her identity is fading away. She's kind of, this happens with some couples. Sometimes I'm in that couple, in that, when you're both successful and doing stuff, instead of being appreciated as two individuals, you can get wrapped into a unit. You are a we now. And in this situation with LaMarcus and Hillary, as big as Hillary was, I think LaMarcus is the bigger star power because of his football. So I feel like she's kind of been sucked into his vortex, and now everything, any kind of opportunity that's going to present itself, it's Hillary, the spouse of the football player, not Hillary, the content creator. So that's going to probably be a bit of a struggle that we're going to see here.
Yeah, but she puts her foot down. She does. She speaks up for herself. And LaMarcus has her back too. When their agent comes in and says, oh no, we have this big campaign going. It's going to be focused on the what was it? The Hillary or something like that wedding. LaMillery. I forgot what they called it.
I think it was LaMillery.
Yeah. Yeah, that whole wedding, she had a whole layout, storyboarded and everything. And LaMarcus and Hillary are both like, so what about the cooking? What about, the stuff that Hillary's into? And they have to put the agent in their place. They're just like, okay, well, you go do what we actually told you to do, and then we might pay you. Because right now, this ain't it.
I love it because Hillary was like, yeah, I'm sure you'll earn your 10% because this is way too easy. You're taking the easy bag here, which she's not wrong. It is very easy money for Hillary to just be kind of like the trophy wife in this situation and kind of milk that, wife of a celebrity vibe for a little bit, but she's not willing to compromise on that, and I respect her for it.
Yeah, people love a showmance. And so the moment you start talking about, relationships and stuff, people can easily get behind that. But you're right. That's not really what Hillary's into. And like I said, LaMarcus does support her, and he ends up proposing again, Pooya, because he doesn't want to wait on a wedding months from now. He wants to get married next week at Martha's Vineyard.
Can we talk about his singing? What did you think about his singing?
I was dying. I don't know. Look, I can't even tell you if it was good singing or not, because he lost me at the song. That damn Let's Get Married remix is the bane of my existence. I hate that song so much. And so the moment he started singing, I was like, all right, LaMarcus, we got to shut this down. But he sang it like he sang the song, and I'm just thinking, you didn't have to do that. You didn't need to play the song. You didn't have to do that. Luckily, he didn't do the rap. There's so many aspects to that scene that I just really hated. But what did you think?
It felt like the song was building up, and then he paused the music as if like he didn't sing enough for it to matter. Not that it was going to change anything, but I feel like we see this all. It is a trope at this point, not just on scripted TV, but non-scripted. We've seen people on 90 Day pull stuff like this. Stop. Like, this isn't your lane. It doesn't give what you think it's giving. Also, I don't like the idea that Uncle Phil and Aunt Viv are hiding in the corner listening to this.
The supportive parents.
Yeah.
I think that Bel-Air wants us to know that everybody on this cast can sing. Because we know.
Stop showing off. Yeah.
Yeah.
All
at
of
this
you are
point,
talented.
Right, because we got Ashley starting a band, Eli is singing, writing her songs. You got Hillary, who we know can sing. We've seen Ali Charlaton's character as Carlton as a singer in this show.
And he does music as well. A lot of them do music outside of this.
Yeah, so I'm like, what? Like, we don't have to do this, but no, they're gonna show us that each of them is really talented. It reminds me of those old Disney Channel days where, like, if you were in a Disney Channel show, they probably you're just a music video somewhere.
You got a verse somewhere. You got a verse somewhere. Yeah.
Yeah. This felt like that. But Hillary says yes, and now the wedding is gonna get moved up. We haven't really explored any tension between Hillary and LaMarcus with the whole jazz thing. Do you feel like that's just over with? They're not talking about it much.
No. I think that there's still more to be said. Here's my theory. I'm going to throw this at you. So we talked about Trevor from Fresh Prince, and we're like, is there going to be a Trevor in Bel-Air? And we're like, obviously, the way Trevor goes out, we're not going to have a shock death like that. That is wild. However, she ultimately technically doesn't marry Trevor because Trevor ends up dying.
Yeah.
I think this wedding being moved up to a week, I think we're being set up for a runaway bride on the finale is kind of where I'm looking at it.
Oh,
that's kind of what I'm seeing. And I feel like we're about to get the Jazz sympathy edit, because if Jazz is dealing with the law, or they've, thrown him in jail because he got identified, whatever, I could see something happening here, Chappell. I could see it happening. Maybe not even necessarily for Jazz. Maybe it's just like this isn't what I'm here for. Like, this isn't my life, and walks away. I would be very shocked if they get married by the end of the season. That's kind of where I'm at right now.
Yeah, I mean, now that you mention it, I can definitely picture Jazz is about to get thrown in jail, and he needs a lawyer, and Hillary comes to Uncle Phil like, you gotta help him. And she's like, no, Jazz broke the law. She's like, but Daddy, I love him. And it's like, what? You love him? What? Oh my God. So now he got to go in there and save his future son-in-law. I could see something like that happening, especially like you said, with the wedding getting pushed up to a week from now. What's happening in the next week? Jazz is probably going to get arrested. We know this because we saw that they found him on camera. They got his name. So it'll probably be in the next few days where that conflict will come to a head. So it's just convenient to me that the wedding and Jazz's potential, arraignment are probably pretty close in the date. So I don't think that's, a coincidence.
Yeah. Again, it's like you randomly moved it up to a week from now. That surely does not go as smoothly as you're making it seem. Doesn't matter how smoothly you can carry those notes. It's not going to hit.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens, but I think both of us are kind of forecasting that Hillary's not going to go through this. It's just, there's 2 episodes left and too much room for just different paths for her to take. Like you said, the runaway bride situation, there's all the Jazz of it all. We know that she's already kissed Jazz, and we know Ashley knows about that, so there are definitely other layers.
Ashley wanted her to confess to him, and then she didn't because of the injury. So
yeah.
That has to, do you think that we're gonna get that payoff? Do you think she confesses to him?
I mean, we might see Judgy Ashley coming back a little bit. I mean, she typically will pop up around this time in a season and start to be the morality police.
Well, currently we're dealing with Mouthy Ashley is what we're dealing with.
Yeah, Ashley got at least these Gen Z kids. They just be talking because Eli, he called Uncle Phil. Now, you and I have been doing this podcast for 3 seasons, and we rarely call him Phil.
He's still Uncle Phil to us.
Yeah. So Eli, who don't know this man, was like, hey, Phil, good to see you. I said, oh, okay. Eli, you got a little too much dip on your chip, but it's okay. A little correction. A little
Mr.
correction
Banks
won't
is
hurt
fine.
anybody. Yeah.
I prefer Mr. Banks.
Right. But then when it gets to Ashley, Uncle Phil says, hey, Ashley, your skirt's kind of short. Are you sure you want to be wearing that? It makes me uncomfortable when you walk around the house like that. And she says, I don't dress for your comfortability. And me and Uncle Phil did the exact same reaction. We both looked around because I was like, who is she talking to? Why would you say that? And then I thought, it's these kids, these Gen Zers, they different.
We did not have this luxury.
No.
If I said that, half my face would not be on the same symmetry. It'd be like off point.
Yeah,
it'd be a lot. Yeah,
it would be bad.
I was shocked. I was like, oh my God. And then obviously Uncle Phil wins that battle, and Uncle Phil voices his concerns to Aunt Viv. He's like, I don't like, what is going on here? Like, I thought, is she interested in this person? And Viv was like, well, I know, like, they're just I'll keep an eye on them. I'm going to be around them all day. Because Uncle Phil's like, they're clearly, what they do point out in the show is that they're struggling to understand who Ashley might find attractive, because they thought Ashley might be into girls. And now Ashley is hanging out with Eli a lot. And, they were informed that Eli is non-binary. So I feel like they're trying to wrap their heads around this, the old brain of like, how does all this fit? And also, I thought you like this. How can you like this? The fluidity is not quite understanding to them. But Aunt Viv's like, I got this. I'm going to keep an eye on them. Don't you worry. You do your own thing.
Yeah, but Aunt Viv was wrong. She was wrong because she sees that
Ashley was also wrong. Ashley was also wrong.
A lot of people were wrong. A lot of people were dead ass wrong. Aunt Viv sees the chemistry between Eli and Ashley. It goes to Ashley and says, hey, now I know you keep saying there's nothing between y'all, but just for the record, like y'all ain't gotta be all up over each other like that. Like, why you sitting in each other's lap? She's like, no, mom, you're embarrassing me. He has a boyfriend. Stop it. And Bill's kind of like, okay, I guess. But you're right. There's some fluidity going on here because by the end of these 2 episodes, Eli will admit to Ashley and write Ashley a song about the feelings that Eli has for her. And so maybe there's a little bit more to Ashley and Eli than we would have expected.
Yeah, we had the moment in the lounge chairs by the pool, which you pointed out, and Viv was like, you know what's great about today? There's a lot of lounge chairs where everyone can have their own. Maybe you two don't need to share one. They both talk about their respective exes at this point and how, you know, Ashley was like, Olivia kind of like kept trying to get involved, like be like, make it seem like there's more drama than there is. And Eli's talking about how Noah kind of checked out when he was going through some stuff. And they kind of found each other through their own familial and relationship struggles here. And I feel like it was a cheeky way for Eli to present that he's into her through song.
Yeah. It was a better version of what LaMarcus did. You know, it was like, okay.
At least it was original lyrics, okay?
At least it wasn't Jagged Edge. And so, I agree. And I think that, you know, much to my surprise, Ashley was into it. You know, like we've been presented that Ashley might be queer in some way, but we don't really know the extent of it. She's a young girl. We're not really sitting here trying to speculate about kids' sexualities. But at the same time, when Eli does say, I'm kind of feeling you, and this song is how I'm putting that into words, Ashley doesn't look turned off by it. She actually kind of looks like, all right, I can get into this. So Aunt Viv and Uncle Phil, yes, perhaps they should be concerned about who is staying in Ashley's room. But at the same time, Ashley did point out that they didn't have an issue when it was Olivia because they didn't think it was any danger to it, anything nefarious could happen, anything maybe too mature could happen. But now they have to open their eyes and their worldview to say, okay, it doesn't matter who's in the room. You know, you just have to use the same level of parenting across the board because you don't know what people like or who people like. So it felt like a learning experience that the Bankses still haven't quite gotten to the bottom of yet. I think over the next episode or two, before the finale, they're going to have a better grasp on what Ashley's looking for in a potential partner.
Yeah.
Now, partners. We got to talk about the main couples here. Well, before we get into it, let's talk about Jeffrey because he got a very short storyline here. Him and Penelope are reconnecting, and Jeffrey had to lay hands on somebody in the restroom to make sure they knew who was boss.
I love this scene. Jeffrey does not step down, and you do not step up to Jeffrey. That was a very wild interaction where Penelope bumps into this guy at this busy bar. And he had way too much lip and attitude about it.
Spoke.
And Jeffrey was like, we got a problem here? But I was like, no, we don't. We're cool. Everything's cool. And in the bathroom, he hits him with one in the neck, and the guy's just out. He just dumped in the toilet, gone.
Yeah, well, he tried to kind of check Jeffrey in the restroom, like, hey, man, make sure you get your girl in line and all this other stuff.
Make sure she save a dance for me. Like,
yeah,
really?
Like, what is happening? And so Jeffrey, you know, it's so player. You know, it's the way he turns slowly and just locks the door. Like, all right, cool. He locks them in there. And in that mind, in that moment, if I'm the guy in the restroom, I'm like, oh God, what did I just do?
Because I'm screwed. I'm done.
Me in here. Right.
Yeah,
like
he's gonna pack me up.
Yeah, and he does. I mean, quickly, just like right to the throat, pow. And down he goes. Penelope does, I think, put 2 and 2 together about what happened when she sees the guy coming out of the bathroom with holding his neck. Yeah. But again, she looks like she's into it. Is there any world where you see these next 2 episodes lead to maybe Penelope and Jeffrey making, you know, whatever they have going on a little bit more official? Because there was some sexy dancing going on in this episode.
That dancing said all it needed to say.
Yeah.
Chappell. You know, that those hips were not lying. They were doing everything. I think this is them rekindling it. And I feel like her even offering to stay longer is a sign of that this is something that can go further than it is right now.
So do you trust Penelope? Like, could you see her being in Jeffrey's life? Maybe if we go into season 4, do you think Penelope would be back for something like that?
I don't know. I feel like it all comes down to me. What happens with OG Jeffrey? Because we haven't seen the OG Jeffrey storyline. We haven't gotten the update of the answers of where we are with that. That's kind of where I'm waiting and looking for right now, because the whole point of Frederick being here was to keep him close and safe. But if that deal falls through, then they may not be safe and you might have to send them out all over again. But if it is safe, then you can actually talk about starting a life here together. So I think there's still a little bit of storyline to go there.
Yeah, and we haven't seen Frederick since, that 2 episodes ago. So now we can find out. I've already said I don't really trust Frederick because I still just can't let go of the original lore. And he's just been moving weird, like the whole street racing thing. It was a lot of weirdness coming from Frederick. So I don't know if we're done with that quite yet. But I would like for Jeffrey to be able to have somebody. I just don't know if it's his baby mama, his estranged baby mama. But
I like her. She's nice.
She seems cool. I just don't trust that son. So, there's that.
That's fair. I agree.
Yeah. So a large part of these 2 episodes really was focused on what will be the investor meeting for Blackcess. We see that they are in this program with Quentin, and he has put them into the place where, okay, we need to get ready to present our business plans to the investors. Y'all should be working together closely, but there's going to be some friction with Will and Carlton leading up to that. There's actually been a little brewing all season, just with Carlton feeling like Will wasn't always tapped in and locked in on what the goal was, kind of losing sight of things. Will feeling like Carlton's not willing to ask for help from Uncle Phil, and him, of course, dealing with his addiction and his relationship. But all of it is going to come to a head in this episode because there's some relationship drama, and everybody has warned Carlton about this. Maybe fresh out of rehab is not the right time to get into a serious relationship, but he did it anyway. And so Will, Carlton, Lisa, and Amira will have a double date situation at their house, but it turns into a triple date because they end up with Zaire and Jackie showing up as well.
Yeah, Zaire was like, I thought I had a +1. So Jackie got off work same time as me. I was like, why not? And I was like, I thought you had a girlfriend. I fell through. Anyway, Jackie's here now. So
yeah,
this was so funny because immediately it seems like on the surface, Lisa and Jackie squash all their beef and we move on. My God, though, Amira likes to sit in some mess and some drama because things got tense real quick.
She don't know how to mind her own business, and I've been saying that since the street race. When she first got real annoyed at Jackie the first time, like, why are you here? I was like, Amira, you just got here. You don't get to come and charge Jackie up. I think she was the one who told Jackie, like, you need to leave. Like, says who? Who are you? And so, Amira's there, and she's going to stir the pot a little bit in this episode. Will did not handle this great at all.
No.
The awkwardness from the moment Jackie enters the room is hilarious because he's like, okay, I've gotten some notes from Lisa and Jackie, so let me apply them. Lisa, this is Jackie. She's my friend. There's nothing to worry about. I don't want her. Jackie, this is my girlfriend, Lisa. You can't break us up, even if I don't think you want to, but still, you couldn't do it if you wanted to. I was like, nobody needs this public announcement. Nobody needed this.
This was not necessary. He's doing the most, but he's trying to do it all like out loud so that he gets the brownie points, right? It's all about, see, I told her to back off because I've got eyes for only one woman. And see, I told her you're a very important person in my life because you help out with stuff and you're a good friend of mine. So you should both be happy. But in reality, it just felt like you forced them both to be okay with it.
Yeah. Will is playing the middle, and Amira will later on call him out about just being in a situation where there is a wrong answer or right answer, and then Will finding himself in a position where he's always trying to make all sides agree, right? Like, well, if I can take a little bit of this and a little bit of that, then we can compromise, and I don't have to make the hard decisions. And so Amira calls him out about that, and while Will is pushing back, he's also looking to Carlton and Lisa for support. And neither one of them support him. Both of them are like, I mean, you do kind of be playing peacemaker a little bit, or we do put our feelings to the side to make sure that you are peaceful so you don't have to make any hard decisions. It seems to be a pattern in Will's life.
Yeah, which, in some angles, that's not a bad thing. Having a constant around that can keep the peace and also keep the vibes up, distract you from some of the problems that may be there. That's a good person to have in your life. But at the same time, you cannot have that distraction be permanent. Like, it's like, that's a distraction for now, but then we got to talk about the real stuff. But Will definitely doesn't want to talk about the real stuff. I feel like the real stuff kind of scares him a little bit. So I understand where he's coming from, but I also understand where they're coming from. But Chappell, that's not the most exciting part of the questions and conversations we had during this triple date.
No, because we got to talk about heal or reveal in the hot tub. So the game is simple. Amira says they play this game at rehab, and you can either reveal something that nobody else knows about you, or you can answer a question out of the hat. And so Lisa talks about how since her dad became DA, she's been super busy and not being able to focus on nationals. And there's some legit good conversation coming from it. Carlton has to answer the question about who he lost his virginity to. And this is awkward because I think you and I, in the moment, we know it's Lisa. I think Lisa and Carlton know, but I don't think, I don't even know if Will is for sure that it's Lisa. I think that we know this, but having to say out loud that Carlton lost his virginity to Lisa, who's now dating Will, in front of Zaire, Jackie, and Amira, who don't know any of this drama, this was a little embarrassing.
A little, I would say, especially with Zaire's like ad-libbing commentary of, and your cousins? I didn't know we got down like this.
Right. Because, that's a good point. Because, I don't know. Sometimes people just be off limits. Like, they mess with your cousin. You got all right, we got to let that go. Especially if it's the first person they ever had sex with. You going to go marry the first person your cousin had sex with? That's weird. And so, yeah, this is a hot topic. It comes up, and it's hard to kind of parse what's going on here because they're not that old. So it's not even like Carlton and Lisa, he lost his virginity to her, 10, 12 years ago, and it's ancient history. Like, this is probably like 2 years ago at max. And so, yes, Carlton's had a relationship with Lisa. Wills has a relationship with Lisa. And Zaire even asked at one point, am I the only person who hasn't hooked up with anybody in this pool? Which puts all eyes on Jackie.
No, it would have, but then Amira puts all eyes on Jackie. Amira was like, well, only Will and Jackie can answer that one.
Oof. And again, we know that Will and Jackie have done stuff, but I don't know if Lisa knows that. And I don't know if Carlton knows that. And so, yeah, truth bombs being dropped everywhere. This was so messy. But I think Amira, this is like where she thrives.
Oh, for sure. She kind of thrives in this chaos because she's being the newcomer in a group means that a lot of people don't know you, but also if they want to get to know you, it's not like they ask you, who did you lose your virginity to? They're not going to know who it necessarily is. Yeah. So for her, she can kind of come in as the new person who asks all these questions and then unravels them in front of everybody and kind of becomes like the truth teller or the one that keeps it real in the group. And that's kind of where she thrives, I feel like, is when she feels like that's how she's in control of her placement in the grouping. And also, it's important to know that she came into this group new, but still not newer than Zaire and Jackie. So she kind of feels like, hey, this is our group that you're a part of, even though it's like, really, you're also in the same, you're just as new as them. Relax.
Right. Technically, Jackie was here before you, but she wasn't in the group, but she was here before you. Her proximity to Lisa is keeping her in the group as well. So she has Lisa, who she's apparently good friends with, Carlton, who we know she's dating. So she's pretty well insulated in the group. She's like, all right, I'm not going anywhere. But Lisa does stumble across Amira's stash of Coke in her purse. And now we're on to the races because, Pooya, you might not have noticed this, but it's a very sad day for Amira. This is the anniversary of her sister's death. Again.
Yeah.
Like, this is the other anniversary of her sister's death. Like, not the one that we saw 2 episodes ago, but
a different sister.
It's a different sister. Somehow, sisters just keep dropping like flies, and every time Amira starts moving funny.
Yeah. No, this was a huge reveal moment for us. The music kind of changed a little bit as she gives this excuse to Lisa, and it worked again. Lisa kind of, her guard immediately drops down, and she's like, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry. Like, let me help you. I'm here for you." And she's like, "Actually, only you can help you. Flush it."
Yeah.
Which I loved. And also she was like, "Are you going to tell Carlton?" He's like, "Well, you should tell him. You should talk to him." Because the thing she kept trying to do was like, "I am Carlton's person. Like, this will hurt Carlton if you tell him." And I was like, I feel like it sounds like it's going to hurt you more than it will Carlton, is the feeling I'm getting. Like, you don't want to get caught, but also you don't want Carlton to know in a perfect world that this happened.
Yeah. And they're going to keep it from Carlton because they don't want to hurt him. They don't want to send Carlton into another spiral, send Carlton back to drugs and alcohol, so they're going to keep this one close to the vest. But Amira ain't shit. I don't even know if she has a sister. I don't think she's ever had a sister as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, same.
Yeah. This sister keep dying because there is no sister. The sister does not exist. And so it's a good go-to, but I was really hoping somebody would catch her in that lie. Instead, we have a more a darker turn, I guess, to this situation.
Yeah.
Because as we suspected, she goes off the grid. Carlton can't get her on the phone. Will tells Carlton what's up. Or was it Lisa or Will? Who told Carlton about the conversation with Amira?
So what happened was, right before their big Black Cess investor day, Will bumps into Amira outside at the country club, and she's there to wish Carlton a good luck. And he's like, maybe you should just let him focus. And then she's like, well, maybe we should ask Carlton what he wants. And he does not hold back. Then he makes it known that, hey, Lisa told me, I know, and I might tell him. She's like, is that a threat? He's like, well, I just want Carlton to be happy. Let's focus on this investor day. We'll circle back later, whatever. So then ultimately he can't let it go, because what happens is then Amira confronts Lisa at the country club after this and says, I thought you were my friend, and what, you ratted me to your boyfriend? I thought you were going to have my back, but it makes sense because you can't even have your own back. Kind of like lashes out at Lisa. So then Lisa texts Will and is like, what did you say to Amira? And Carlton reads that text. And that is how Will lets Carlton know. And so their name gets called to go for the investor day pitch. And Carlton kind of freezes in space. And Will goes up there and proceeds to make a bit of an ass of himself at this investor day presentation.
I felt seen in this moment. I'm definitely one of those, like, if things are going bad, just tap me on the shoulder. I can go and vamp a little bit. I can improv a little bit. And there are times where it's going well and you can tell people are enjoying it. But there are also times where you're doing it and people are not feeling it. They're not picking up what you're putting down. You can only BS yourself your way through so many things, And so Will tries it. He's talking about Philly. He even rapping throughout this thing, like basically just embarrassing himself in front of all these investors until Carlton snaps out of his little trance, comes in and saves the day. They do their presentation about Black Cess. To this day, I could not tell you what exactly this is. It just comes off like merch.
It's a lifestyle.
It's merch.
Not just merch.
It's merch. It is just hoodies and social media followers. And so they do their presentation, but we can't even focus on whether or not it was successful, whether it went well. I mean, it looked like it was going well, but we don't really get an answer to that, because once they're done, Carlton is on the lookout for Amira. He can't find her. She's not picking up the phone. But as you pointed out earlier in the season, he does have her location, and she's not far. She's still at the country club.
I feel like with location like that, I don't know. I only know about like Google's one, but it can't give you it'll tell you, okay, they're in this area, but it's not going to give you the exact GPS coordinates to, like, okay, they're in this corner of the country club. Like, it would just say country club. But listen, I'm not going to push that too far. They find Amira in a very bad state.
Floating in the pool because Amira has overdosed and she's now passed out, and she is now floating in the pool, probably near death at this point. Luckily, we have an Olympic swimmer in Lisa and Carlton, who is no slouch at all. They go in, save her, and then they end up resuscitating her as well. So for a second, I thought, oh, we might lose Amira right now, which would be tough. We only have 2 episodes left. I can see that happening. I was actually very surprised that we did not lose her, Pooya.
Yeah, when she opened her eyes and started like breathing back again, I thought, okay, wow, because I thought that was going to be the cliffhanger part of the episode where we're like, oh my god, what happened? But they immediately gave us the assurance that at least you woke up. So what happens next, we don't know. But I also felt like there's a world where we lose her. Now I'm curious where we go from here. I think one of the things we can guarantee is that we're gonna see Carlton struggle with the idea of falling off the wagon. I think that's gonna come up with the pain that this is gonna cause him, most likely. But like, I don't know. Do you think that how soon do you think him and Amira are gonna talk? Because that's the other thing. Do you think that they're immediately gonna have a conversation at some point, or do you think there's a situation where either she asks for distance or he keeps his distance or his family makes him keep a distance, like something?
I think he's going to have to advocate for himself this time. I think he's going to have to speak up in this next episode and just be like, Amira, we can't do this. We cannot do this. If there was more season left, then I would probably say that, nah, he'll put it off or something like that. Or they'll try to push through it. He'll try to be there for her in her recovery. But 2 episodes left. Unless she's coming back for season 4, which I highly doubt, I really think that we're about to start saying our goodbyes to Amira. I just really didn't expect for her to survive that interaction, because now, like you said, we have to figure out what happens now. Do they break up? And what does that look like? Is Carlton able to cope with the breakup? Does he start to feel like he needs to start going back to meetings? That probably wouldn't hurt. But as long as he doesn't go and do any drugs or use any alcohol, I think we're on the up and up. Now, do you think, Pooya, that Carlton will end up backsliding a little bit?
I feel like he'll definitely consider it in some way, shape, or form, for sure. But I don't know, man. I feel like because of how little episodes we have, you can't tell me we've built up Carlton going through sobriety for 8 episodes only for him to immediately fall back by the end of the season. You know what I mean? Like, I just don't see that happening. It very well could. I say that it very well could. It'll all come down to his surroundings. How are his family going to treat him? He just got his door back. He just got, he's got everyone believing in him again. He just did a pitch that seemingly went successful, despite it just being merch. People were eating it up in that room. So I feel like his whole thing was about proving himself and proving that he is not his weaknesses. He is his strengths. And this is a very traumatic thing that just happened. It could go either way. I personally am going to give Carlton the benefit of the doubt. I'm going to back him. I think Carlton's not going to do it.
Yeah, we shall see. 2 episodes left, and so there's only so much more storyline you can get out of the 2 episodes before we go on with it. Probably another year-long hiatus before we get season 4. So they got whatever they're going to do with Carlton. I think they got to figure it out in the next episode or so, because I just don't think this is the same storyline we drag into his senior year. Like, I feel like senior year, the addiction storyline is maybe like it's like an underlying storyline, like he'll have bigger fish to fry, but they'll always be laced with the idea that, okay, he could backslide at any moment. I just don't think that Amira would be the somebody we're bringing into season 4 unless she does die. If she dies, then I can see Carlton season 4 being like trying to navigate senior year with also and remain sober, trying to achieve with the demon of, the memory of how Amira died in the back of his mind. I can see that for sure. I don't want to see that, but I can definitely see the way this darker, grittier Bel-Air could paint a situation like that.
Yeah, I think that this is like his journey of sobriety. I mean, the reality is with sobriety, it's a battle every day. It's a day at a time. Even if you're 100 days into being clear, all it takes is one day for it to get reset, right? So I feel like that's always going to play a part in Carlton's character for the rest of the show's running now. Anytime Carlton has any adversity, they're going to want the audience to think, is anything going to happen? Is he safe? So I think that's definitely a part of it. I think the other side too is the duality of Carlton has been very fascinating. He is arguably, as much as my favorite character is Jeffrey, I would argue that Carlton has had the biggest journey on the show, with Will being in second place. Carlton kind of snooty, Bel-Air Academy student who kind of lets people say and do whatever they want around him, not really understanding his background, not really understanding who he is, involved in drugs and, trying to use drugs as a way to keep this persona of being perfect, to appease his family, parents, everybody, only to now completely have everything stripped away from him down to his door and having to do urine tests for drug use. Like they really brought him back down to zero and then shaped him back up. So I think he's going to be someone that we're going to see struggle with stuff throughout the however long this show goes, but also we're going to keep seeing him grow, which I'm very excited about.
Is it bad that I want Amira to die?
Oh my God.
I sound bad when I say it like that, but hear me out.
But this is a fake character on a TV show, so it's not as bad as the way it sounds.
She ain't gotta die. I just don't want her here anymore because just bad.
You want
vibes.
them to break up and separate,
but like also move away, like go away from us, get away from my family. Because there's this one moment where Will's like, "I'm gonna talk to Carlton. If you don't talk to Carlton," and she says, "Well, who do you think he's gonna believe?
Mm-hmm.
His family that he loves and lives with and spends every day with, or a drug addict he met 3 months ago? You think about it." And I was like, damn, she right. He might believe her. And I was like, she got to go. At that point, she got to go.
Well, you saw when the night before they were in the house and she was like, "Oh, I'm up here in your room. How often have you thought?" I was like, "I've thought about this every day of my life since I've met you." Yeah. I've been waiting for this chick. What are you waiting for then? And he's like, ooh, starts undressing her. It's like, oh my God, he's down bad. So definitely that moment was a bit of a power flex. But then ultimately, I think it was kind of like a empty gun. It's like you ran out of bullets. You threw the gun at Will because she immediately like goes to Lisa and is like, why'd you snitch on me for? Now he's not going to listen to me. So I feel like that was kind of an empty threat. I think there's potential in wielding the power here, in that, coming out of this major near death experience. That could be something that happens, but also, eventually I gotta imagine Lisa and Carlton talk, and Lisa goes, "Yeah, she told me that it was the anniversary of her sister's death." He's like, "Wait, that hasn't come up yet. So what happens when he finds out that she lied to him? Does that change anything?"
She gotta go. Scram, beat it, toots. Let's get her out of here.
Okay, so you're right. in the love interest power rankings, okay, Erica, Amira, Sharif.
Okay.
Rank them.
Oh, okay. Amira's dead last because because she's she's not dead yet, but hopefully she we fix that. Well, she's last because her being a love interest is detrimental to Carlton's health. Okay, and I don't like that. He can't fall off the wagon. I don't like that.
Agreed. And then Erica's second.
No, then Sharif is second.
Erica's second.
No. Sharif is second. He's obviously here for chaos, turmoil, and
Erica
strife.
Has caused financial damage to Uncle Phil. If you think about it, Erica's the reason why Jazz is in jail. Think about that.
Huh. There's levels to that, probably, for sure. Yeah.
Erica's the reason Will got involved. Erica's the reason that this community is about to be in shambles.
She is awful. That is true. However, counterpoint. Have you seen Sharif?
He made dope ass food. That's his biggest crime, is being clinical in the kitchen. I'm not going to hear this.
Lock him up. Lock him up.
Kiss nobody. He didn't even kiss anybody.
I want him in jail for life. For life. Lock him up. Never let him out.
Just say you're jealous.
I hate him, and I'm jealous, and I hate him. How about that? One person we really haven't talked about in this whole storyline, because the show eased it into this episode very I think very smart, like the way they just kind of dropped the Lisa storyline back into the episode. Lisa's stepmom Angela is not really coping with having this baby. Leo is now being taken care of primarily by Lisa and her dad, because Angela is not doing well. And Viv will go talk to Lisa's dad, the DA, about this, and he shrugs it off like, you're just a hater. You always been partial to my ex-wife, to Lisa's mom. You don't like Angela, XYZ. But I don't think they give us this if it doesn't mean anything, Pooya. What do you think we're going with the Angela postpartum depression storyline that they've now given us in episodes 7 and 8?
Yeah, if I remember correctly, they had that moment with them on the recap before the episode begins. They had that moment from like the last season on there. So
Yeah.
I think that this will be a part of it in some capacity, because I think one of the things that the show is really subtly trying to remind us and show us is that Lisa's trying to keep a lot of things afloat right now. She's trying to be a good friend to Amira, be a good girlfriend to Will, but also work on her swim stuff, but clearly take care of her brother that the stepmom isn't really doing. So like, it's a lot of things that she's trying to keep afloat together at the same time, deal with Jackie, but we're seeing her keep a brave face, but also we're seeing some things go apart and really drain her and take that energy out of her. So I think that this storyline will continue in some capacity. I don't know in what capacity, but I definitely think this is either going to be setting up for the next season storyline, or we see some kind of a payoff come soon.
I think Lisa will no longer be swimming. I think swimming is what's going to take the L here. I think it's kind of parallel to Will trying to balance basketball with the rest of his life. I think that for Lisa, the first thing we saw from Lisa, one of the first scenes that we saw in this entire season was Lisa saying, "This summer, I really want to make nationals and I'm going to focus on swimming." And since then, we've probably seen her swim once. She's gotten into a relationship with Will. She's got a new friend in Amira that she has to navigate. She's got this little brother that she's taking care of. We know she's working. She has so much going on. And I think that from the beginning, they told her swimming was supposed to be a priority and it just wasn't. So I don't know what that looks like long term, but to me, I don't see her making nationals with all of this on her plate.
Yeah, and if that does happen and like she doesn't, not gonna say fumbles national, but doesn't get in, is that when she does like a clean break to just focus up on stuff? Because I mean, this summer in Bel-Air is about to be done.
Yeah.
And the fall begins. And I feel like the season 2 ended with what's summer in Bel-Air? Like, well, once that's over, maybe we're done too. So who knows? And also, not for nothing, Jackie's still around. And as much as they've said, oh, that's not a thing, part of me feels like if Will and Lisa end up taking a break, then Jackie's right in there again.
Could you ever see a world where Lisa and Carlton end back together?
Yes, because I thought that was going to happen.
Really?
Was it? Which season was season finale was it where Will like dipped out and Carlton and Lisa were together? Like, I think that's worried about him. Was that season 1 or season 2? Was
that's
season 1?
I believe.
Yeah. At that moment, I thought something could happen. And I still think there's a world that something could happen here too. Like, I'm not fully out on that, on those two ending up rekindling things, especially because, you know, at the time she was kind of like, well, Carlton is just being this clingy weirdo. I feel like Carlton is also, we've talked about how he's maturing and becoming a better person. So maybe he's becoming a better person, someone that Lisa could see herself dating. But also, I disagreed with Zaire. I didn't think it was that weird. Like, obviously, it's a coincidence that Lisa and Carlton lost virginity to Lisa, and now she's dating Will. I don't think there's a connection there. I will if she then goes from Will to Carlton. Like, that would be strange. At that point, y'all can't do this.
Oh, so she can go from Carlton to Will, but not from Carlton to Will to Carlton back.
Will wasn't a part of the picture at the time.
Gotcha.
Now they're both part of the picture. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay, I see that. I just realized that the show reminded us about the Lisa and Carlton relationship, and we don't get a lot of that. You know, Will and Carlton, they handle the idea that they both shared, a girlfriend or a love interest. They handle it pretty well. You know, they go on double dates together. Lisa and Will are often making out around Carlton, and he doesn't have any like outward expression of that being annoying. But yeah, when Zaire brings it up, like, so this was your first time with her, and now she's with him, and y'all just cool with that. Cool, bet. That seems interesting. So I think that show brought it up to kind of remind us that it's not the most normal situation when it comes to these cousins and their love interests.
Yeah. So we'll see if it gets any stranger.
Yeah, I mean, things have gotten tense. Even in this episode, we saw that Carlton and Will, they were joined by a special guest this episode, the EST of them all, Bianca Belair, #Belair on Peacock. She shows up and I guess it kind of makes sense. Her name is Bel-Air. She needs to be here, but she shows up and teaches some wrestling moves for Carlton and Will. And once again, Carlton, I just don't think Will got it in him to beat up Carlton. I think Carlton's always going to best him because Carlton flipped him like a rag doll.
It took no effort.
Yeah,
it took no effort. He made an easy package of him. I'm telling you, man, Carlton got hands. This is not the third time we've seen Carlton kind of flex it a little bit.
Oh yeah, he's ripped and he will fight. And so great cameo from Bianca Belair. Obviously,
that was great.
It was good to see her, the first woman to ever headline WrestleMania, the EST. But she was there to show, some of the tensions between Will and Carlton have been bubbling up. But hopefully we can get all together and under wraps by the time we finish this season, because there are only 2 more episodes left. Pooya, we've already made it to the finale. It seems like we waited so long to get to this point, and now it's about to be over.
I have been loving this season. I've already said this.
Mm-hmm.
But I would like to reiterate that I kind of hated the way they delivered the episodes to us.
Same. Same. A
3-3-2-2 release of 4 weeks and we're done after waiting for about a year and a half is not okay. You should have given us the 3 episodes. I'll let us get into it immediately. Giving us 3 episodes, cool. It should have been 1 a week after that. We should have kind of savored as much as we could, because now it's going to be done before it even started, and I'm sad about that.
Yep. We're about to wrap this thing up. The 9th and 10th episode are already available on Peacock. So if you're listening to this, you could go and listen to we'll watch the finale, and we'll try to have our finale coverage for you as soon as possible. But yeah, we try to enjoy this, savor it, do weekly drops for the people who've been waiting patiently like we have for Bel-Air. But Peacock and the powers that be wanted to rush this out. And so we've almost completed season 3, just a mere 4 weeks into the release. And then we'll be waiting to see updates on season 4. But until we get those updates and until we get whatever is coming next, Pooya, where can people find you and what do you have going on?
I can be found on Twitter at Pooyaism, twitch.tv/Pooya. And if you're looking for me on podcast, 90 Day Fiance, that's where we are right now, talking about this new season. Leon and I kicked it off with episode 1. It was actually a lot of fun. All new couples means all new fun to be had. And then obviously Friday mornings for Big Brother live feed updates if you're keeping up with Big Brother.
Yeah, if you're keeping up with Big Brother 26, how are you not listening to Pooya every Friday, breaking down what happened in the house overnight on the live feed? So make sure you check that out, and then check out all of our Big Brother coverage over on RHAP. As for me, you can catch me on Twitch as well, twitch.tv/Chappell's_show, where sometimes I go live to talk about TV, and sometimes I play video games on there. I don't know, just be vibing. But you can check me out over there, and then of course, check me out on all social media platforms at Recap Kickback to keep up with all the podcasting that I am doing. Of course, Sasha and I are still covering Below Deck. We're creeping up on the finale of that. I believe there's like 2 more episodes of Below Deck Med before the season finale. So check that out. Check out Rob and I on the Nothing But Netflix podcast. We did a hot dog eating contest podcast recently, which was wild. We had some wrestlers show up for that too. Former Big Brother player. It was a few things overlapping with the hot dog eating contest, but that was a great time on the Nothing But Netflix podcast. And we're going to be covering Outlast season 2 on Nothing But Netflix. And so if you watch this wild show on Netflix called Outlast, where people were stuck in the wilderness just trying to survive, it was a wild first season, and so we're hoping season 2 delivers as well. So we'll have that for you soon on the Nothing But Netflix podcast, and then here on Recap Kickback, much more content coming your way. We just dropped our reactions to The Deliverance, the #1 movie on Netflix right now, which is created by Lee Daniels. It's this majority Black horror film that we had some very strong opinions about, and a great time talking about. It was myself, Mari, and Tyrone. So check that out on Recap Kickback. AJ will be joining me next week to talk about Fight Night. And then, of course, Pooya and I will have those last 2 recaps, or that last 2 episode recaps of Bel-Air season 3 for you right here on recapkickback.com. But until next time, for Pooya and for myself, you ain't got to go home, but you got to get the hell up out of here. We will see you all later in these Bel-Air streets. Peace.